Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala ashrafil mursaleen Sayyidina wa Nabiyyina wa Maulana Muhammadin sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of Rabi'ul Akhir, the month where one of the great servants of Islam many centuries ago passed away and had such a great impact on human society up till today. None other than Sayed Abdul Qadir Jilani, Qaddasallahu sirrahu aziz. In every era, Allah Almighty sends His awliya Allah to the world for the guidance of mankind. They are role models to follow. Some of them have such a strong and powerful influence on the world that even after their apparent demise from this world, the world still remembers them and benefits from them. And one such personality is none other than again Sayyidina Abdul Qadir Jilani, Qaddasallahu sirrahu aziz, who was a direct descendant of Sayyidina Imam Hassen from his father's side. And from his mother's side, he descended from Sayyidina Imam Zainul Abidin, son of Sayyidina Imam Hussein radiallahu anhu. Therefore, he is both a Hassani and Husseini Sayyid, tracing his lineage thereby to the two grandsons of Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiallahu anhu passed away on the 11th of Rabi'ul Awwal or Rabi'ul Akhir, 561 after Hijrah, 1166, at the age of 91. A special zikr session is held on that night. It is variously known as Khatam Ghawthiyah, Ziyara Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani, Urf Sharif, Garawin Sharif. The more popular known is Garawin Sharif. Gara means 11, obviously. And these zikr sessions draw murideen, spiritual seekers in their thousands, who come out spiritually rejuvenated, with their characters transformed and refined, ready to sacrifice everything they have for the sake of Allah. And these halaqah, these gatherings of dhikr in Tariqatul Qadiriyah have continued to attract thousands of people to this Sufi order. The Holy Quran promises that Allah will raise amongst the Muslims khulafa, deputies or successors to the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ba'da a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. وعد الله الذين آمنوا منكم وعملوا الصالحات ليستخلفنهم في الأرض كما استخلف الذين من قبلهم. Allah has promised those among you who believe and do righteous good deeds that He will certainly grant them succession to be rulers in the land as He granted it to those before them. وَلَيُمَكِّنَنَّ لَهُمْ دِينَهُمُ الَّذِي ارْتَضَىٰ لَهُمْ, and that He will grant them the authority to practice their religion which He has chosen for them. وَلَيُبَدِّلَنَّهُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ خَوْفِهِمْ أَمْنًا يَعْبُدُونَنِي لَا يُشْرِكُونَ بِي شَيْئًا. And He will surely give them in exchange a safe security after their fear, provided they worship Me and do not associate anything in worship with Me. وَمَنْ كَفَرَ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْفَاسِقُونَ. But whoever disbelieves after this, they are fasiqun, they are rebellious to Allah. This concept is based on the following hadith of our Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Reported by Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam قال إن الله يبعث لهذه الأمة على رأس كل مئة سنة من يجدد لها دينها. Verily Allah will raise upon in this nation at the beginning of every century someone who will renew and revitalize the religion. And one such mujaddid was none other than Sayed Abdul Qadir Jilani. Muhyiddin, the reviver of the religion, Ghawthul Azam, the great helper, Shaykhul Imdad, Sakin fi Baghdad, subhanallah. His first karamat was witnessed when he was a baby, during the month of Ramadan. He would take his mother's milk only at night, subhanallah, and not during the daytime. Look at the karamat. And this fact was proven by and said by his mother over and over again. And once the new moon of the month of fasting was not visible in the evening on account of the clouds, in the morning people came to his mother to inquire whether the day was the first of Ramadan, and she replied to her that her child did not take her milk during daytime, which indicated that the day was the first of Ramadan. When he became a teenager, Sayed Abdul Qadir Jilani then requested his mother to dedicate him to Allah and also allow him to proceed to Baghdad, which was then the famous, very famous in the Muslim world as a great seat of learning for the acquisition of knowledge. When his mother heard the proposal, she shed silent tears because she perceived that on account of her old age, she was not destined to see her dear son again, whom she had brought up so carefully and tenderly after the death of her husband long ago. But the saintly lady would not stand in the way of his devotion to Allah. So she sewed 40 gold dinars into his garment so that it might not be easily lost. It was his half share of the money left by his father. He soon joined a small caravan which was going to Baghdad, and from the time of his childhood he had never uttered falsehood. But despite this trait of his character, his mother at the time of parting took a vow from him that he should never tell even one lie under any circumstances. Subhanallah. They then parted with heavy hearts. The caravan passed quite safely as far as Hamadan, but beyond that place, a large gang of robbers fell upon the caravan and plundered it, but none laid violent hands upon Sayed Abdul Qadir Jilani. They thought him, he's a penniless and a religious youth, he's got nothing. One robber, however, questioned him whether he had anything with him, and he readily said he had 40 gold dinars sewn into his garment. The man took it as a joke and he went away. Another robber came and asked him the same question, and on receiving the same reply, moved off. And they reported the incident to the leader of the gang, who ordered for the youth, in other words, Sayed Abdul Qadir Jilani, to come before him. And accordingly, he was taken before the gang leader, and he said the same thing. Hey, have you got anything of value? So forth. And Sayed Abdul Qadir Jilani replied the same thing in the affirmative, that he had 40 gold dinars on him. The garment was then cut open, and the 40 dinars were found. On seeing this, the dinars, the leader was astounded and asked Sayyidina Abdul Qadir Jilani, what made him tell the truth when he knew that he too would be wrong? What would we do? Wallahi wa Rasul. What kind of you? Astaghfirullah, may Allah grant us the qualities of these awliya. And so look at his answer. He could have said, no, he's got nothing. Look at his answer. He said he had promised his mother not to tell a lie under any circumstances. And Sayyid Abdul Qadir added that if he had to tell a lie on the very first stage of his journey undertaken for the sake of acquiring knowledge of of Islam, he would obviously have no chance of acquiring any real knowledge of Islam at subsequent stages of his career. Subhanallah, look at the time Allah grant us that type of taqwa. Kan je bij je amin wonen? Je belief in the din Afrika, see? Subhanallah. Upon this, the leader of the robber burst into tears. He cried. Look at the karama of Sayed Abdul Qadir Jilani. He said, you cannot disobey your mother, and I have been disobeying Allah all my life. Right? So he placed his hands upon the hands of Sayed Abdul Qadir Jilani, and the leader of the robbers solemnly vowed that he will give up his bad way of life, if his robbery that he's been doing. And the other robbers also followed their leader, and they repented. And the belongings which they had, which they robbed from the people, were returned to the owners. Subhanallah. Subhanallah. Such was the charismatic power and karamat of Sayyid Abdul Qadir Jilani, even at his youthful age. May Allah grant us this kind of youth. Now, while studying in Baghdad, he faced many hardships. And he was tested severely by the life of Baghdad. And he used to say, when the hardships and difficulties would come and would become so unbearable, then I would lie on the road and continuously recite, فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا إِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا. With every hardship, there does come relief. Verily, with every hardship, there is relief. Subhanallah. He would address his nafs and would say, do not be impatient. Have trust and faith in Allah. After a while, a person comes to Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani and offers him some food. And Sayyidi declined. But the person was very insistent. And he insisted he must partake of the food. So on this insistence, Sayyid Abdul Qadir Jilani Qaddas joined him in his meal. While eating, the person asked Ghawthul A'lam, Muhyiddin Sayyid Abdul Qadir Jilani, about himself. And he explained to him that he was from a town called Jilan, and that he was in Baghdad to attain knowledge. The person then said, he was also from Jilan, and asked if he knew any person named Abdul Qadir Jilani. Subhanallah. Has Allah got a sense of humor or what? So he's asking Abdul Qadir Jilani, do you know of a person by the name of Sayyid Abdul Qadir Jilani? And Sayyid answered, my name is Abdul Qadir Jilani. Subhanallah. When the man heard this, he cried. He shed tears. And he stood before the Sheikh and said, please forgive me. I have misused that which was given to me in trust. And Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani asked the stranger to explain what he meant. And the stranger said, when I was leaving Jilan, I met an old woman who gave me 8 dirhams in trust that I should give them to her son Abdul Qadir, who is studying in Baghdad. It was those days to give money. It's not like today. You just press buttons and the money goes. You know, subhanallah. Ya Allah. So he said, oh Abdul Qadir, the food that I was eating from the 8 dirhams that your mother has given to me was for you. I had been searching for you, but could not find you. And due to this, my stay in Baghdad was extended, and this caused my money to run out. And out of extreme hunger, I used some of your money to purchase food and to sustain myself. And that is what we are eating. Oh Abdul Qadir, it is not that I fed you, but it is you that fed me. Right? Please forgive me for abusing that which has given to me in trust, in amanat. Amanat is a big thing, please. Oh, Ya Allah. Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani, Qaddasallahu Sirruhu Aziz, was with great gentleness and affection, held the stranger to his heart and praised him for his honesty and his sincerity. He then gave the remainder of the food and a portion of the 8 dirhams to the stranger, and he bid him farewell. There's so much to talk about the life of Sayed Abdul Qadir Jilani. When it comes to his academic achievements, wow, so impressive, right? He went to the Madrasa Nizamiya, which was world famous at the time, world renowned, and under the tutelage of some of the best teachers in the Islamic world, he reached an outstanding level of understanding in the following sciences: in fiqh, in tafsir, in seerah, in hadith, in Arabic literature, subhanallah. He studied the Hanbali fiqh, in particular under the prominent Hanbali scholar, jurist Sayyidina Abu Sayed al-Makhzumi, Qaddasallahu. He was taught tafsir, sunnah and hadith by Sayyidina Abu Ghalib Ahmad and Sayyidina Abu Qasim Ali, great giants at that time. He also studied an Arab literature under Sayyidina Abu Zakaria Yahya Tabrizi, the principal of the Madrasa Nizamiya. When it comes to his literary contributions, and please, I would say go read some of some has been translated, subhanallah, and I will mention some, but do go read, you will be so impressed and inspired. Futuhul Ghaib, these are 78 lectures, in other words, revelations of the unseen. Al-Fath al-Rabbani, the sublime revelation, also 62 talks. Jala al-Khawatir, the removal of cares, another 45 talks. Malfuzat, the utterances of Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani. This is like a collection of quotes. Right? And the famous one, Al-Hulya li-Talibi Tariq al-Haq. This is the most famous one. Sufficient provision for the seekers of the path of truth. Subhanallah, these are 5 volumes. I don't think you can read even 1 volume. Right? But whatever you can, gain from it. Because, subhanallah. Right? And there are also 15 maktuban, the 15 letters, al-Fuyudat al-Rabbaniyya, emanations of Lordly grace, Bashair al-Khairat, glad tidings of good things. Right? It is a salawat by Sayed Abdul Qadir Jilani. And Kitab Sirr al-Asrar, subhanallah, this one I read. You know, it's really unbelievable. Subhanallah, beautiful, beautiful. May Allah grant us that we do. But you tend to find in the community, sometimes, when you hear the word Sayyid Abdul Qadir Jilani, shirk, bid'ah. Oh my God, how people go to town with shirk and bid'ah. We don't believe in Sayyid Abdul Qadir Jilani. We respect him for what it is. We go to his qabr to go make ziyarah, like we go to the qabr of Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he says, Man zara qabri wajabat lahu shafa'ati, says Nabi alayhi salam, whoever visits my grave, I will grant him shifa. Subhanallah. So what do we do at the grave? We make dua and so forth. But that's another topic by itself. And here, Abu Hurairah says that Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says that Allah says, Hadithun Qudsi, Man aada li waliyan faqad aadantuhu bil harb. He said, I will declare war against him who treats with hostility a pious worshipper of mine. May Allah protect us from that. Allah declares war on us, to be very careful of how we approach. وَمَا تَقَرَّبَ إِلَيَّ عَبْدِي بِشَيْءٍ أَحَبَّ إِلَيَّ مِمَّا افْتَرَضْتُ عَلَيْهِ. And the most beloved thing which my slave comes nearer to me is what I have enjoined upon him. وَمَا يَزَالُ عَبْدِي يَتَقَرَّبُ إِلَيَّ بِالنَّوَافِلِ حَتَّى أُحِبَّهُ. And my slave keeps on coming closer to me through performing nawafil until I love him so much. فَإِذَا أَحْبَبْتُهُ كنت سمعه الذي يسمع به وبصره الذي يبصر به. And when I love him, says Allah, I become his hearing with which he hears, and his sight with which he sees. ويده التي يبطش بها ورجله التي يمشي بها, and his hand with which he strikes, and his leg with which he walks. And he goes further, say, and if he asks me something, I will surely give him. And if he seeks my protection, I will surely protect him. Subhanallah. In another hadith, إذا أحب الله تعالى العبد نادى جبريل. Nabi alayhi salam says, when Allah loves a slave, he calls out Jibreel and says, إن الله تعالى يحب فلانا فأحببه فيحبه جبريل. I love so and so, so love him. Then Jibreel loves him. فينادي في أهل السماء إن الله يحب فلانا فأحبوه. Then Jibreel announces in the inhabitants of the heavens that Allah loves so and so, so love him. فَيُحِبُّهُ أَهْلُ السَّمَاءِ. So the inhabitants of the Sama also love him. ثُمَّ يُوضَعُ لَهُ الْقُبُورِ فِي الْأَرْضِ. And then the people then on the earth also love him. And this is how our awliya are remembered, because Allah remembers him. Right? That is the criteria. So be very careful. If you don't know, go sit with the people who know. Don't just go onto Mufti Google and come to your conclusions and you think, mashallah, you know, this is what's happening with some of our youngsters. Go sit by the feet of people who know. Go sit. You know, it has been purported that the shortest khutbah that was done was by Sayed Abdul Qadir Jilani more than 1,000 years ago. He climbed the minbar and he said, a morsel of food for the stomach of a hungry person is better than building 1,000 mosques, and better than covering the Kaaba with expensive cloth, and better than he who stands in prayer and prostration, and better than he who fights in jihad with an unsheathed sword, and better than he who fasts the whole year in continuous heat. And when the flour or meal descends to the stomach of a hungry person, it has a nur, a divine light that rivals the light of the sun. Subhanallah. So glad tidings to the one who feeds the hungry. Don't forget. Ya Allah, don't forget, subhanallah. May Allah grant us love for the awliya Allah. You know, when you recite hamd, it's poetry in praise of Allah. When you recite Naat Sharif, poetry in praise of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. If you recite Manqabat, it's poetry in praise of the awliya Allah. Just one or two lines. No, Sheikh? Allah ke pyare hai, Haydar ke dulare hai, Shah-e Baghdad Ghawsul Wara, Bekason ke sahare hai. Time is up. Mustafa ka gharana salamat rahe, Qadiri astana salamat rahe, hukm tha ke ada ho, namaze 50 aapka aana jana salamat rahe. Thank you for listening to my heart. Quick announcements, couple. On Monday the 7th, it is my wife's 45th wedding anniversary. I mean, please make dua for me. I mean, ask. Oh yes, People have been asking me, because Asr is made a bit later here in this mosque, Masjid say just after 5, say Hanafi time or before Hanafi time. Those who come earlier, Shafi time, 10 past 4, please make your Jama'at. It's not a problem, because you need to go to work or you need to go home, no problem. Even Dhuhr is now 20 to 1. Right? If you have to please make your Salah and go. Most masjids, I think, just have it generally at 1 o'clock, So, no problem, right? Please, no problem. The Habibia Archery Club will be having a food sale from from the 5th and 6th of October from 9 o'clock. Please support them. And food will also be sold outside here. Thank you.